It's here! The latest addition to the craft room is the Cricut Maker 3! Actually, that's not quite right because the latest addition is actually my lovely new bar stools. But you're gonna have to wait for the new craft room tour to see those. Yeah, I guess I am that person who never throws away boxes. Also, yes, in this video, we will unbox the Cricut Maker 3. So I will do a proper review once I've had some time to play around with the machine. But today, I just wanted to get those of you who are like brand new Cricut Maker 3 owners set up and ready to go. So let's roll the montage. Guys, how beautiful is this thing? I'm already in love with the design because I've had the original Maker, but the color on this is kind of unexpected, but I really like it. Woo! Here it all is. Okay, so I will go into everything that you get in the box, what it all is, how we use it, but there is like this one thing that I have to get off my chest before we go any further, and that is, why is the Cricut packaging so lame? The machines themselves, you know, they're so nicely designed, they're so pretty, the quality is amazing. But then like the box it comes in is, you know, kind of rubbish quality. You literally have to wrestle the machine to get it out of the box. It doesn't lend itself to like nice original audio Cricut machine unboxings, you know? I mean, I do think Cricut model themselves off like the Apple ethos, especially like in the design, but I think they're definitely not there yet. They're definitely not on par as far as the packaging and the unboxing experience is. So yeah, my one note for Cricut, if you're watching, you know, something you could work on. I feel better now. Let's take a look at everything that you get in the box. Okay, so first up, you'll get your warranty envelope. Not that exciting. It's something you want to just chuck in a drawer and keep safe, because if ever anything does go wrong with your machine and you need to get help from like member care, you will probably need to have proof of your warranty within like that first year when it applies to get things fixed. Okay, what else do you get? You get obviously your plug point. So I'm in the UK, so I have a 3-pin point plug. You get like the plug point and that goes into this adapter. If you have multiple machines, you'll end up having loads of these. They pretty much all work with any machine, so you don't actually need to like keep all of your adapters to hand. Just use one and one plug point. And then you will also get like a starter set of materials. These are smart materials, but I'll explain to you a bit later in the video what these are. Use as timestamps if you want to skip ahead. And of course, not forgetting the actual Cricut machine itself. So this is the Cricut Maker 3. It comes with a fine point blade already loaded on the inside. So yeah, you know what? I will give you my first impressions of the way the machine looks and just show you like a quick tour of everything you get on your machine. But I actually wanted to skip ahead to the actual setup and connection now because, you know, I know that's what you're all here for. It's what you want to know how to do. So let's just get straight to that. Open up your browser and head to cricut.com/setup. We are going to be setting up a new cutting machine. So we'll select the option on the left and then Cricut Maker 3. So now just make sure that you have plugged in and turned on your machine. We're going to need to connect via the USB for the initial setup. You can use Bluetooth after this, but for the first time it has to be via the cable. Make sure that you always use your Cricut machine with enough space in front and behind, because it will feed your material through the machine. So there needs to be leeway on both sides so that it doesn't get stuck or like hit a wall and, you know, cause a total crafting disaster. My machine is now doing an update and reboots, but once this is done, yay, we're ready to do a test cut. If you are a complete beginner, then why not follow along and complete this test cut to get a feel for how your machine works. Otherwise, you know, feel free to skip ahead using the timestamps for this video. So what you do is you choose which of the images you want to cut, and then check in your machine you have your fine point blade. Grab the piece of smart vinyl that came in your warranty envelope. Load it into the machine by sliding under the white tabs on the either end of the machine. And then you just press the flashing play button to start the cut. Voila, your first cut has complete. Okay, so let's take a look at the machine itself. I mean, I have always been a massive fan of the design and the feel, the quality of the actual Cricut machines. So it's got this nice kind of brushed metal top, and if you lift that, then the machine seamlessly opens. Inside, you've got two clamps, clamp A and clamp B. You're going to be using clamp A for pens and also the scoring stylus, because you can, do drawn designs with your machine. Clamp B is where you will use all of the cutting blades. And as I said, you get the fine point blade, which is kind of your main daily driver sort of blade. Like this is the one you'll use most often with your machine. So that one already comes with it. All the others you have to buy as additional accessories. This bottom section then has a little compartment for you. This is really handy because you can store your tools in here and also like your spare blades. There's like a little magnetic strip to hold like your spare blade tips, for example. And it is really useful if you are someone who is limited on space, because you can just keep all your kind of crickety things right here in the machine. There's no need really to have like loads of extra space for that stuff. You've got these side compartments as well. One of them is a bit deeper than the other, so I guess in the shallower one you'd put like blades that you're not using if you're not keeping them in the bottom compartment, and in the deeper one maybe like your weeding tools, your scoring stylus, pens. I like to keep my brayer tool in here when I'm working. On the side you also have a USB port. I mean, I do wonder when they're going to change that to USB-C, because that's the way the world is moving, but nonetheless this is something you can use as like a charging point for your device. I mean, I usually work with a laptop, but if you were using your iPad or your phone, then you can charge it through the USB-C port on the side and also have it placed in this slot on top whilst you're working. And actually I was quite surprised to see that iPhone 13 Pro does fit in here. I mean, it's kind of snug, you have to wrestle it a bit in and out. It's not something that I really use, but it's there, just in case you're wondering what on earth this random thing is on top. Around the back you have two inputs. One is for your power cable, and then the second one is if you want to connect to your laptop via the cable, which you'll remember is what we did when we first set up the machine. I normally connect via Bluetooth, but it's useful to have that because sometimes you do need it. Okay, so I also mentioned at the beginning that I would give you a quick overview on what smart materials are. I'm assuming that most of you are here because you are brand new to Cricut and you've never owned a different Cricut machine, and the Maker is your first one. So what you need to know is that in the older models of the Cricut machines, you would have to use a cutting mat and feed that into your machine with your material placed on top, and then it would cut it like that. But with the Maker 3, the company introduced these new materials, which they call smart materials, and the difference is that you don't need to use a cutting mat. You just feed the actual material physically into the machine by itself without the cutting mat, and it can cut directly onto the material because they've improved the backing of it so that it's thick and strong enough that the blade can kind of directly cut on top and it doesn't cut through the backing. So the kind of materials that are currently available in this, smart version are adhesive vinyls. If you don't know, that's the kind of shiny plastic material that has a sticky back. Comes in lots of different finishes and colors and patterns. So, you can cut designs on that and basically create stickers that you would normally use to decorate things like vases or water bottles, or like even car windows, that kind of thing. And then you can also get iron-on vinyl, but in the smart vinyl form. Iron-on is the kind of vinyl where you cut your design and then you transfer it onto a blank using some form of heat. So a household iron, not so good to use, but you can buy these special machines called heat presses. They're basically an iron, but they're much bigger. They're usually like a square shape, and it gets much hotter than your household iron, and it also distributes the heat evenly across the plate, which gives you a good transfer. And you normally put iron-on vinyl onto fabrics. You can also get smart sticker paper. That is basically thick cardstock, but also has a sticky back. So it's quite good if you are into papercraft, because you probably know that one of the biggest, most annoying things with papercraft is actually sticking everything together, especially when you're doing small, fine details. But this cardstock is already sticky on its back, so it's really good for that. That is what smart materials are. It's like a new material that only Cricut sell at the moment, and the range is somewhat limited, but I think it's a product they're going to want to be pushing because it's a Cricut only product. You can't really buy it elsewhere yet. So I'm sure that the kinds of materials and the colors, the finishes, the textures, all of that will be, expanding. Just if you keep an eye out, you'll see probably more product launches for those. Okay, cool. So, you guys should be all set and ready to go to use your Cricut Maker 3. If you are looking for some inspiration, I will link below some of my more popular Cricut tutorials. You can go and try them out. Keep a lookout on the channel file for my full review on the Cricut Maker and also an overdue studio tour. There's been a lot of change in here since I last gave you guys a tour. If you check my old videos, you'll see a lot has changed in here, and it's really time that I showed you guys around again. So yeah, make sure you keep an eye out for that. Enjoy your new Cricut Maker 3, and I will catch you in the next video. Happy crafting!